Best served cold.
Yep, best served cold.
I think it's one of the best books I've ever read.
I'm going to give it my rating right now, and it's a 10 out of 10.
Same here. Yeah.
I think it's probably the one Joe Abercrombie book that has a proper plot and story. Like, you know how I talked about before, that the plots are usually just all over the place, and it's the actual content in the story that makes the story so good.
I suppose you're right there.
I feel like you have a clear cut revenge story here.
Yeah. And with Shivers, his story is like wanting to redeem himself.
Yeah, definitely.
And be a better person.
So, okay, a little bit of a breakdown. You have Makato. Monza Makato. I can't remember her first name. And her brother. And Bena. They are lovers, essentially. But they're brother and sister. It's insinuated that they're lovers anyway.
Yeah.
They are the grown-up versions of some very poor, like, servants, right, from a farm.
Yeah, well, at least their dad was a farmer. They had a plot of land, and then, like, some invaders were coming in.
Yeah. So they had a really rough lifestyle early on.
Yeah.
And then she learned how to fight. And obviously he learned how to fight as well. And then somewhere along the line they met up with Nikamo Koska from the earlier books.
Yeah, I think they were, like, nearby recruiting or something, and that's how they got with him.
Yeah. He taught them to fight. Well, he taught her to fight anyway.
Yeah.
They join up with his mercenary gang, and they become so good that they're basically co-owners of this mercenary gang.
Trusted lieutenants, and then...
Yeah.
Do they actually overthrow him, or is it just like...
I think he just sort of steps down.
Alright.
Because, well, he becomes more about the drink and the money, doesn't he? Rather than the fighting.
Yeah.
So they become so successful as mercenaries that the king of Styria...
I think he's a duke.
Oh, Duke of Styria.
One of the dukes.
Actually uses her as his main army.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where she's overthrown everything for him. And the only thing left for him to do is eliminate her, because she's the only thing standing in his way of ruling his lands.
Yeah, because she's, like, so popular, he's worried she'll overthrow him.
Yeah, like even socially, right? Like, socially, the people love her.
And this is the guy that's the father of who Giselle marries at the end of the book 3. What's not clear to me is when all this takes place, because, like, we see Koska in the trilogy, but she's not mentioned. So I was like, is she there but just not mentioned in, like, Dagoska and stuff? Or did it...
I think I think that this happens after the trilogy.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah, because Koska actually says at some point that he was in Gurkle. He was in Dagoska, I think. And that was his downfall, because at the end of it all, he loses everything.
Oh, I mean, I know Best Served Cold takes place after that, but Monza's involvement, because, like, you don't see her with him in the trilogy. So is it like she was recruited afterwards?
Yeah.
And then went through all that and then got rid of him?
I think she's probably just off... Because
camera
kind of thing, yeah. Because they split and they...
That would make sense.
They did two different things, didn't they? But she had a trusted lieutenant, right? Because what happens is the Duke takes her out, throws her, like, basically stabs her and throws her down the mountainside after killing her brother.
Yeah.
And this trusted lieutenant takes over, right?
I think he's like one of the first. Oh no, he might be one of the last kills.
I think he might be, actually. No, I think he is the last kill.
Aside from the Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Anyway, she rolls down this like mountainside, like it's a quite like 200-foot drop or something like that.
Yeah, lands on her brother's body.
Lands on her brother's body, and she's completely broken, jaw broken, leg broken, arm broken, and it's actually described as her being like this like wounded animal that's just like a pile of mess, just like crying, and a person comes along, finds her, and basically does surgery and puts her back together.
Yeah.
And she spends weeks in this sort of laboratory cave.
I think it's like a year or 6 months or something.
Yeah, it's quite a long period of time, isn't it?
And she gets addicted to that husk, which is like a kind of heroin kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we have Shivers.
Her hand's also minced, eh? It's like...
Oh, yeah. Like the tendons all fucked or something.
Yeah.
Especially like one finger just always... like
it's always poking out.
Yeah, her right hand was stomped on,
yeah.
I think. Yeah. But we also have Shivers, who's kind of trying to turn over a new leaf.
Yeah,
he's come to Styria, and
he's sort of been through that war with like Nine Fingers and Blackwater, and he's done with it. He's leaving all that behind him, and he wants to become a new person.
Yeah, he's just trying to like live a good life, and not, ironically, put aside his revenge to come to Styria and then help someone else with their revenge.
Yeah. What's interesting about that first part with Shivers is his idea of living a good life is basically just sitting around at the docks of where he went up to.
Yeah, it's a pipe dream because he like comes in and he's like trying to be all positive, and then something bad happens. He's like, oh well, okay, I'll still be positive, and then like he fucking burns through all his money, and he has to like chop wood or something.
Yeah, and like
and people are shit to him. And he's like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah, being good sucks. Yeah. And then we end up getting a roster of people that Makato sort of hires.
Yeah, he's like a poisoner and an autistic fucking brute, friendly.
Oh, yeah, friendly, yeah. And he's also a prisoner, right? He's a really good numbers or something.
Yeah.
And she goes through a few of her old contacts to get like different people and stuff like that. And they basically go out on this quest to kill all the people on her list, similar to Arya Stark.
Yeah, and it was quite, I guess, episodic in a way, where like each part was one of the kills.
Yeah, I thought that was quite good as well, and it made reading the book really interesting. Like, you could do a kill and then leave it for a little while.
Yeah,
perfect jumping off period. Like, they kill an entire bank full of people. The poisoner kills an entire bank full of people. Because it's basically the only way to get to the person.
Yeah.
They kill... Who else do they kill?
Well, the first one was just like a straight up, they kidnap him.
Yeah.
At this point, it was just Cool Shivers, her, and maybe Friendly.
Yep. And
she just like bashes his skull in or something. There's the one in the bank. What else is there?
And then they end up getting Nikamo Koskare because they have to get some bigger ones.
Yeah, because there's the amazing sword fight in the palace, but in a fort, and then like the statue ends up breaking. And
yeah, that's right.
I think that's where Koska dies.
Yeah, he dies so many times. He dies so many times in this book. That's what I loved about the character is that, like, even when they meet him, they're like, "Oh, I thought you're dead." Yeah, it's like, nah, I'm not dead yet. You know, fucking. There's actually a part sort of towards the middle where Koska's sober and getting fit again, and he's fencing with Makato, and she's having to use her left hand.
Yeah, and
he's teaching her how to fight like dirty kind of thing, and he's like, "Oh, you're still better than me. You're still better than me with that, like your sword." And there's a special brand of sword that they use as well, isn't there?
I just always assumed she used like a rapier kind of.
It is a rapier, but there's like a special maker of sword or something because it's one of the last things that Costco actually sells because he goes, I'll fight you with my such and such sword, and he tries to pull it out, and he realizes he's sold that as well.
Oh, okay, yeah,
and it's I think can't remember what it is, but it's interesting that they smuggle themselves into a city under siege at one point.
Yeah, that's where Shivers
loses his eye. Yeah, because
that was. Well, as I wrote here, it actually kind of haunted me, like, because I like him so much as a character. I was like...
Yeah, because you're going along the journey with him.
Yeah.
Right?
And to see someone who is filled with, like, so much hope and, like, trying to do the best despite, you know, some guy being Logan, like, killing his brother and, like, making his father a wreck of a person. He's, like, still trying... to be a good person, and then through no fault of his own, and he gets his eye burnt out over a fucking mistaken identity. Then like 10 minutes later, like, oh shit, no, we got the wrong guys.
Sorry about that, mate. Accidentally burnt your eye out. You know?
Yeah,
it's fucking terrible,
but also like when he cuts the throat of the woman that did it, he's like. Wasn't it like nothing personal, but you burnt out my fucking eye or something?
Yeah, that's like... exactly right. Yeah. He actually gets a silver eye or something, or a gold eye.
Well, initially it's a normal fake eye, but then he's in a battle and
he takes another guy's eye. Yeah.
No, I think it just like loses the paint or whatever. Like it was a metal ball painted to look like his other eye, and then he was in a battle, and then like I don't know how it happened, but like the paint came off, and then it was silver.
Oh, okay.
I understand.
Okay. Oh. But it adds to the guy's character because then he becomes this like, because really he's almost like a fresh-faced like warrior for most of it, and then up until this point he becomes this hard like veteran, and he even like gains the power of the Bloody Nine. That's what it seems like because he turns into those rages. He gets into those rages, and it's almost like the Bloody Nine's like voices in his head. In some of those chapters.
Right. Okay.
And they're like, oh yeah, kill. He even takes Friendly at one point, and Friendly's
right near the end.
Yeah. It's so it's kind of sad to see him completely fall apart like that, eh?
Completely changed to the other spectrum. Oh, another cool thing with him is him screaming when he got his eye burnt out. It fucks his voice, so he like whispers
rasps,
from it's fuck. It's so good.
It's a complete transformation, eh?
Yeah. And he resents Monza afterwards, and eventually turns on her, which is when he fights Friendly because he's defending her or whatever. Because he was banging that other chick, Ida or something.
Is that the Poisoners?
No, it was in the trilogy when Glocta's in Dagoska. There's that merchant lady, and she's like.
Oh yeah.
And eventually, like they capture her.
Yeah.
And they shave her head, and Glocta lets her go.
Yeah.
And then she comes back for this, and she's like banging Shivers. And then she's like, "Oh, you should kill Monza because." Yeah. I'm working for Glocta. You can.
But he also bangs Makoto, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. He does have that's his kid, eh? Later on.
Most likely.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
That's weird though because Monza. She becomes this character that is addicted to the husk and everything else, and you think that sometimes some of her actions and some of her ideas are like. Inhibited by the drug?
Yeah, and I think she questions that herself in her internal monologue
dialogue,
as well.
Yeah. Her and Shivers actually seem like a good couple to me. It seemed like they actually were like kind of in love.
Yeah, it's just the unfortunate events that
transpire. I thought that the whole world of Styria seemed a lot more musketeer-y to me.
Right.
It seemed like it was like the descriptions of the castles and everything else. It seemed like they had because they had portcullises, they had proper defences, they had statues, they had the statue that fell down and stabbed the guy, you know?
Yeah.
It seemed like it was much more vibrant and, like, I guess, unique than Adua. Adua seemed very more, like, sort of medieval.
I suppose if you, like, called Adua, like, England, Styria would be, like, a blend of French and German influences, maybe a bit of Spain.
Definitely did feel like that. I felt like there was definitely like a kind of a Spanish feel to some of the culture. Even the name, like Nicamo Cosca and like the Duke's name, you know.
That's right. Yeah, it's honestly, one of the best books I've ever read, and you know, you could pick this book up and read it and it'll be great, like without reading the
you don't need to have any kind of prior knowledge. True.
I think if I was to recommend this, I would still say I'll read the trilogy first, you know? But it's like so different as well.
It is different. It's to be honest, I think that this is probably one of the best of his works. The best of his works. There's actually a really... What's a vivid piece for you in the story? There was a fight, I think, in some like a rocky area with a stream, and she was on a horse.
Yep.
That seemed... and I think that was one of the main kills as well.
So that was after Shivers get his eye burnt out. And
It's
when Cosca is like...
reclaiming his sort of mercenary band or something,
he's back in charge, and he's just like waiting on the sidelines, like he's told the other side, oh, I'm gonna fight for you, but then he's like to his men, oh, we've got to not fight because of this reason. I don't know how I've read it twice, I can't remember his justification for it, but it makes sense from his point of view.
He is so intelligent, that character, though. He's so intelligent that his second in command, when he retakes over his mercenary company, is out to kill him, because that's how you take over. It's like however you get assassinated, then the next person comes in. So they're robbing this like castle blind towards the end, and they're like killing people off and robbing it blind. And he says, "Oh, look, you know what? You can go into this building first or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, thank you." And then as he goes in there, the second in command tries to kill him, but he's already thought of that beforehand. And then the second in command ends up like getting killed some other way. It's like he's so smart that he even knows that like his second in command's gonna kill him. You know, it's like 2 steps ahead.
And even with the pretending to still be a drunk and drinking goat's milk.
Yeah.
And then once Morvia, the poisoner, once he kills him, he's like, oh, finally I can fucking drink actual alcohol now. I don't have to pretend to be a drunk. I can be a drunk now.
Yeah.
It's just... Oh, it's so good. So good. Yeah.
I thought his, the Morvia, the poisoner, I think his helping hand lady?
Day.
I thought she was great, man. I thought she was great. And the the most poisonous, like dangerous poison that he could ever make and teaches her is water.
Yeah, that's right.
That poor girl.
Yeah, they had like a pretty interesting relationship, and it was like, not that I felt really attached to any of them, or especially not Morvia, but she was a pretty cool character, and it was a bit tragic.
I did feel attached to her. I thought that she was a very good character, because she wanted to stay with the main group's motivations. And when she realised that Morvia was overstepping his boundaries and actually planned to kill Mikado, she stepped in and was trying to do the right thing for that circumstance. But I feel like there was something in the book where Morville was like, "Oh, you're not the only apprentice I've ever had. Like, poisoners always have apprentices, and when we don't want them anymore, we just fucking kill them." And I thought that of course you would do that, wouldn't you? If you're a poisoner, you wouldn't trust anyone.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. That was cool, and it was also cool to see like the little pepperings of like Valentin Bulk and things like that in the story. Yeah. Well, not much else I can say about this one because I can't fault it for anything. I don't think.
Same here.
It's just really good.
Yeah.
Any other moments that you really enjoyed? The goat's milk one was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Probably right near the end when Monza has won and Shivers is imprisoned.
Oh yeah.
And she gives him the ring and it's just like you can go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna kill you. Just get the fuck out of here.
We're even. We're square. It's just, it's so tragic, which I hate and love. Like I want the best for them, but I love reading what actually happens. Like,
yeah, I thought that was really good too. I thought that was so, sort of apt, and there's no mention about that ring later on.
Oh no, there is.
Is there?
Yep.
And a little hatred.
Yep, and even in the heroes, I think.
Oh yeah, shit. Actually, you are right. Because that's how you identify him in the heroes, eh? To start with, because they're like, oh, he's got like a gold ring that's just unlike a Northman, and that bloody eye.
I think it's like on his little finger or something.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just.
That's a good one.
Excellent.
So 10 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, same here.
But he is a great writer, so that's it for that one. We'll go to the next one, eh?
Yeah, so the next one is The Heroes, which is almost as good for me.
Almost as good? I thought
Very
it was
different.
Good. I thought that this one was really, really jumbled up, and I thought that it worked. I thought it really worked for it being jumbled up, because you had both sides. You also had the stones. The stones were like an anchor point in the story.
Yeah, the stones are the heroes.
Yeah,
that's the name of the.
That's the heroes. Yeah, because they were like old carvings or something of the heroes, like since past or something, right?
I think it was like more like these heroes buried here or something like that. It's on a hill. And...
The band that is guarding the heroes, the banded guys.
Oh, Curtin Craw.
Yeah, Craw. Yeah.
That's wonderful and Warren of Bly and
Red Cap.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that Red Cap?
Beck.
Beck.
Oh no, actually there is a guy with a red hat.
He's in the later ones as well.
Yeah.
And he's like grown up. Because he's a kid at this point. I think all of that stuff is great, and I thought that those characters were fantastic. And I know it's gimmicky with the elderly guy who has the sword that once he takes the sword out, it has to be bloody.
Yeah.
I know that's gimmicky, but it just worked so well. It worked so well in that story.
And he's such a wacky character.
It is. He is a wacky character.
And like at one point he's like slicing cheese or bread or something. He makes a sandwich, but they don't have the word sandwich. I can't remember what they. But they were all mocking him because like they're used to like having bread with cheese on top or something. You just rip a piece off or whatever, and he's like slices 2 pieces of bread and puts some stuff in between it. And he, I wish I could remember what he calls it. But it was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It was really good. There's also a key moment in the story. And that's one of the things that you first told me about the books, because you did most of the books before I even started them. is that one where there's a scout riding through the marshes. He gets shot in the leg with an arrow, and then it goes to the archer who's shooting him.
Yeah, and then it switches between.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, that was really amazing. That whole chapter was great because he's daydreaming about like, oh, what am I going to do when I get home? I'm really going to marry that girl who's the butter wife or something like that.
And one of them has like a pendant that he like thinks that reminds him of his girlfriend or something.
Yeah.
And then the guy that kills him is like, oh, this is sweet. There's a fucking necklace I can sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Heroes is like a 3-day war, basically, right? And I guess what Abercrombie was doing with each standalone in this is taking like a traditional genre and doing his own take on it, like the Revenge, Best Served Cold. Now we have the Heroes, which is just a short war between the Union and Black Dow, who's the king of the North. And
was it the Dogman's with the Union? Remember Dan Ghost's like part of it was interesting.
Yeah.
I think that when we found Remedai's Ghost's character, I think that was really good. Like, his whole arc is really about him wanting to be loved and fall in love with this this woman. But
Finnery, I think her name is.
Yeah, I think so. And she's they're in the middle of this war, so he can't act the way he wants to act. But also, he's got his own shortcomings because he sounds like a woman. Yeah. Sounds like a squeaky little woman thing.
Yeah, and despite being like
the finest swordsman,
he's like not confident in like social situations, especially with her.
And
he's self-conscious of his voice and stuff.
Yeah. And he gets to this point where like he is utterly true with himself, but it's such a downfall for the woman he's trying to impress because he's like, I love fucking war, I love killing, and I love it, like like being a master swordsman, all this other stuff.
And he's like one of the biggest heroes in this book, where he like holds the bridge when Scale's attacking and defeats him, cuts his hand off and shit.
Yeah.
And does like a charge earlier on that like saves this group of men. But
that's true.
No one really gives a shit. Oh no, some people hail him as a hero, but like,
yeah, they don't.
In the scheme of things, it doesn't really
do much because he's actually been put there because in the Best Served Cold, he's failed as his bodyguard. He's failed as a bodyguard duty.
In the
whorehouse.
Yeah.
So he gets sent there. Gets sent to war, and he's
the Kings of Zerba.
Yeah, he's trying to fucking sort of win his favour back, to get back to the king. Interesting. It's good.
Who else do we have? Calder.
I thought he
point of view. He's
he played the villain so well though. Like he played the villain almost the entire time in the first 3 books.
Yeah, didn't like him at all.
And
he's
then
like just a snivelling, sneaky bad guy. And in this, he's like some elements of Glockter.
Yeah.
Not a warrior, but like forced into the situation where he does have to fight.
Oh, this. I can't remember if this is actually. I don't know if this is actually in. Yeah, I can't remember if this is actually in the Heroes or if this is in the second or third First Law book. But there's a town somewhere, and there's a kid, and the kid's like the watchman because there's no men there.
Right.
And I think it's like the Dogman or Shivers kills the kid, and they take over the town, and the town basically just like surrenders.
I think it's in the second or third book of the trilogy.
Because the
not sure actually.
It was such a.
I feel like it was from the point of view of the Dogman though.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Which, I think it was probably in the trilogy.
Oh, okay. But it was like this like sad moment where they took an entire town and realized they didn't need to fight until afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's like they'd killed this poor kid.
Yeah. Speaking of kids, that's where Beck comes into play. Because his father was killed in a duel by Logan with his own sword. Because when they have in the circle, each person brings their own weapon, and then they do a
round table of
I think maybe someone gets to choose based on not they don't actually do rock paper scissors, but something like that.
Yeah.
And then that person can choose do I use my own weapon or do I use their one or something like that. And Logan got Beck's father's weapon and killed him with it.
Oh man!
And Beck has that sword.
Wow!
And he's wanting to prove himself, and then of course turns out that war isn't what he thought it would be, and he hates it.
Yeah, it was a good one. My rating on this one's probably that's definitely not going to be as high as you. I think that this one was definitely an 8 or something for me.
Yeah. It's definitely slower in the first half, I would say.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. A lot of good writing from Joe Abercrombie again, but I just think that some of the disjointedness and also I don't know, there were a few bits and pieces that were slow for me.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Yeah. I go 9.5. I think it's great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this one's done as well.
So we have the last of the standalone trilogy, Red Country, and following on from the sort of traditional, I guess it was based on movies. This is a western. So the last one was a war film. This is his take on a western.
I didn't like this one really, but I've said that before.
Yeah. That is fair, I think.
It starts off, you got Logan Ninefingers, who's got a different name now, eh? Lamb. And that's all an attempt to make him seem like a gentler character, which he does in the first part of it. He seems like he is, but Logan Ninefingers soon comes out when his young ward, who's this girl, gets taken away, right? Or she runs away.
No, it's so they're out selling something in the markets, and then they come back and their farm's burnt.
Oh, right.
And her younger brother and sister were taken.
Oh, so they're on a quest to save them, right?
Yeah. So at first they're just tracking where they went. And Logan's motivation is because he's been with this family for a number of years.
Yep.
When their mother was dying, he promised to look after them.
Yeah.
So they're tracking him, and Logan at first is kind of wanting to avoid conflict.
Well, he's changed as a human.
Yeah. Because he's so worried about the Bloody Nine coming out, because obviously
loses control.
Yeah, and he can kill the people he cares about. And Shy thinks he's just this big coward, when he's the complete opposite of that, really.
Yeah, he is.
Even without the Bloody Nine, he still can be quite brutal to those who deserve it.
They sort of end up in this town where there's no water. Water's like a currency or something, right? It's all dry and dusty, and there's not much of anything there. And it's sort of towards the outer edges of the world, and there's just nothing there.
Right.
And he ends up. Do they end up saving them? One of them dies, eh?
Who?
Doesn't the boy die?
No, they both make it.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember.
But so why they were taken was by these dragon people who hired these mercenaries to kidnap children.
Yeah.
And then once they get there, they have like, well, the boy especially has a bit of. Oh no, it's the girl. Eventually, they have a bit of Stockholm syndrome.
That's right, yeah. And she wants to stay with them, yeah.
Yeah. So right at the end, when they finally rescue them, the girl like tries to run away and shit, and go back.
Yeah.
We have Temple, who's the lawyer for Costco.
Oh, yep.
I quite liked him as a character. He's like a jack of all trades almost. Like he's been a priest, a lawyer, a carpenter.
Yeah.
He builds a workshop in the middle of this. And he's like on a... He's got his own redemption arc. And Shivers is in the fray. He's like... Has a couple cameos. He's like trying to find Logan to finally go after his revenge, because now he's...
The strongest part for me was that end part with Shivers, where Logan sort of finally gets to this point where he's like, look, I will fight you.
Yeah.
Like, I know who you are, you know who I am.
Yeah.
And Shivers gets to the point where he's ready to take his revenge, but he just says, look, I'll just say that there was no Logan Ninefingers here.
Yeah.
Logan Ninefingers is dead. I've killed him.
Yeah.
And, I think that, to me, felt like Joe Abercrombie had crafted this character of Logan Ninefingers, and he really liked it, and he couldn't bear to have his own character die. That's how I saw it anyway. I felt like, because with any other character, the savage, like, harsh reality has come through.
I suppose so.
It's the only like saving mercy. But the other thing is, Logan Ninefingers had a terrible time the entire time. So for him to actually give Logan Ninefingers a little bit of mercy is a huge change.
It's probably not the mercy Logan would want though. Like, I'm sure, because he lost his new home.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
because he nearly kills Shy, I think, or one of the kids.
Because he goes into control,
the Bloody Nine when he's fighting to rescue them. With this one, like, the first half was quite slow, but the second half I did like. I don't really like Shy as a character. And it's nice to see Logan for me, but I think this is the weakest of the series. But I gave it a 7.5. Like, it's still good, I think.
I think I'll just give it I think I'll give it a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it for that one.
Then we have Sharp Ends, which is not too much to say. Like, there's a Glockter story in there, which was nice to see, where you see him arrogant, good-looking, perfect teeth, amazing swordsman, smug cunt.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was almost reminiscent of Giselle in the first book.
Yeah, very, very much so. And then there's quite a few different short stories from other characters we've seen. Like, there's one from Temple.
Yeah.
And there's one with Warren of Bly and Curtin Craw and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's a few short stories that kind of
link together to make a overarching story.
Yeah, with
Shavidia and the other chick.
Yeah, the big lady Javra. That's how it's spelled.
Javra, yeah. I thought that was good, and I thought it was cool, and all the little different things, and I thought that having a thief character was quite good, because you could have them stealing stuff and doing different things, and add shorter stories as part of the overarching area.
Yeah,
the overarching story. Sorry. Yeah, no, I thought it was good. For this one, I'd give it I think I'll give this one a 7 too.
Right.
Because it was engaging enough to really enjoy, but it was just a book of short little jibs and drabs.
Yeah, I might go the same. I actually have an 8 there, but on reflection, probably about 7 as well. I think the Glockter right at the beginning and the Logan story right at the end were fantastic.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, almost almost a good way to round off the book, the Logan story at the end.
Yeah, because it's so sad knowing what will happen afterwards, like his kind of arc.
Yeah.
And also like you kind of get the feeling that Bethord didn't want to have to do the things that he actually ended up doing.
I wouldn't mind seeing a story with Logan and seeing how he was actually as a. Oh, it's going to sound silly. How he was as a father, because like.
Oh yeah, he had a kid, eh?
Yeah, they touched on
wife and kid, and that would be interesting, actually.
Well, I thought it would be, but then I thought, we
would have been very young, like 20s.
He would have been like right in his peak. He would have been Logan Ten Fingers. But I'm wondering whether that's like too much, and whether we would get to see a different side of Logan that we wouldn't want to actually explore.
Who knows?
Yeah. So that one's done too. Really.
Yeah, I mean it's not essential, but I think it's well worth the read.